Hey everyone, Nathan here. Thanks for listening to Coming Down. I'm sitting down with Matthew.
Hey everybody.
Man, episode 1. Can you believe it?
Here we are.
Yeah. I really had no idea we would actually be here when we first started this thing, but it's happening.
It's going live.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep. Normally, we'll use these intros to give you any extra information you might need on the episode. But this one's pretty cut and dry, so I don't think there's a lot to tell you. We're just super thrilled to let you jump right into it. So we're also going to use this space for the housekeeping stuff. So let's just let everyone know that we release every Thursday. You can expect it weekly, every single Thursday. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to contact us, feel free to email us at comingdownpod@gmail.com. You can also connect with us on Twitter, @comingdownpod. We'd love to hear from you if you have anything you want to say, or especially if you'd like to get on the show. We do have our main landing page, comingdownpod.com. That's where you're going to find all the links to all the various places we are on the web, as well as you'll be able to find the show notes and any pictures that we have and links that go along with any of the episodes. Sometimes we'll have some goodies stashed away in there for you. As far as beyond that, you can find us on all the usual platforms: Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play. Anywhere else you find podcasts, we'll be on there. And we're also going to be on iTunes. And we just like to remind people that, iTunes really bases their metrics on comments and user interaction. So if you have a minute, please hop on there and just leave a little comment. It would mean the world to us. We're still on SoundCloud, although we don't have the premium yet, but that could change down the road. And with that, we should mention that we are doing a Patreon. We just have a $1 a month level right now, and we're just using that to try and offset some of the costs, and maybe even get a premium SoundCloud and things like that. So if you feel like you like this at all and you have a spare $1 a month to throw, we'll find ways to reward you. We'll do shout outs and we'll find other cool things to hook you up with down the road.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but beyond that, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening. This thing's great. We'll have to bring it to Seattle too.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure we can get some weird shit in.
One detail I left out of the story: Nate gave me his fucking Cat in the Hat fucking Dr. Seuss hat, and it had his street names airbrushed onto it, which was Skeeter. I still have that hat to this day.
Nice. Skeeter.
Yeah.
Ew.
I know, right? Dude, you're a crust punk. How is that a thing?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Oh, man. All right, so this is a good one, and it's good because it was pretty recent, so it's pretty fresh in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
But so anyhow, out on tour. This is probably 4 or 5 years ago. I'm out on tour with the band that I joined out here in Portland, New York Rifles, and we were back in Colorado. We're playing in Denver, and we're playing at this place called Bar. And having even been from Colorado and going to Denver, I had never even heard of this place. And it's in Lodo, kind of, but it's in this real sketchy part of Lodo that kind of still hadn't really been gentrified or fixed up. And yeah, it's definitely a weird part of town. A lot of crackheads rolling around and just random, homeless people and gutter punks and weird shit. Anyhow, we roll into this bar, and we can't quite get the make of it. It's like an anarchist bookstore by day, but also this day bar where old drunks go to die, basically.
Sounds like a great business.
That's their only clientele, is just like old drunks who just go and sit there and just try and drink themselves to death, and that's about it. And
an anarchist bookstore.
And the bartender basically told us as much, that's kind of the place it is. But then at night, a bunch of rock and roll kids come there for rock shows and to get drunk and stuff. And But yeah, the bartender also tells us that the seat at the end of the bar, they actually named the death seat, or the death stool, because no less than 2 people had died sitting in that stool.
Jesus.
One of which was apparently a guy who got stabbed outside the bar, walked in, sat at the stool, ordered a shot, drank it, and bled out, and died right there.
What?
So that's like the neighborhood we're in. And again, that's the story the bartender told me, so I can't verify if that's true or not. But given the neighborhood that it was in, I kind of feel like it probably was. So,
jeez, man.
Yeah, so it was a strange place. So
what was it? Who was the other guy who died in that seat?
I don't know. I think just some old guy.
Oh, okay.
Just finally croaked, had a heart attack, or stroked out, or whatever. So.
Got it.
And so yeah, so we get there. It's dead. There are like 2 old drunks there while we're hauling in our gear. They
Still
clear
alive.
out. Yeah, still alive, barely. They clear out, and then a few people showed up. Some kids we had told about the show up, and a few random folks came in. But, you know, we weren't big or anything, so we didn't expect a big crowd, really, or whatever. And we had an opening band. They play their set, then we play our set to the handful of people there. And, you know, it went over well. The people there liked it. But we get done, and the bartender is like, hey, you should leave your gear set up because we sometimes get a late crowd. He's like, no guarantee, but maybe around midnight, like a huge score of people might roll in. So leave your gear set up and play another set if you want when a bunch of people show up. And so we were like, yeah, that sounds good. So we were just dilly-dallying, and sure enough, the place kind of did start filling up over the course of the next hour. I mean, more and more people were trickling in. In that time, I actually recorded the one and only episode of this very podcast that I tried to start 4 years ago with my friend Brett.
Awesome.
Where we regaled a great story. That podcast is on a hard drive that's toast. So I have to send it in and try and get that data off of it.
We should bookmark this for future stuff because I have done some forensics on hard drives.
Have you? Okay. Because it's gold. It's actually super gold.
I have tools to do this with.
So okay, cool.
Let's put a pin in that.
Well, yeah, after this I'll dig it out and we'll see what we can do with it. But anyhow, so yeah, we step outside, we record a little podcast, regale a story, which, yeah, if we can't recover it, that story will get told again.
Sweet.
And then while we're out doing that, the bar fills up even more. And we get back in, and there's these 2 hippies that we called the hillbilly Hobbits.
Awesome.
Because they're fucking disgusting. Like, hadn't showered in weeks. They're wearing those weird, like, toe shoes and
God.
Overalls.
What?
And they had a dog with them, you know, just on a rope, you know, like not a leash, like a rope.
Wow.
And they're hanging out in the bar, and they come up to us and they're like, hey, is that your gear set up? And we're like, yeah. And the guy was like, hey, is it cool if we play a couple songs? Like, can we just use your microphone? We have a guitar and banjo, and like, well, you know, and he's like, we're from Mississippi and we're out traveling and all this stuff. So yeah.
Wow.
And we're like, yeah, whatever, you know, like definitely, like, you know, I think we're going to play another set here in a little bit, but you guys hop on there. Like, I don't give a shit. Bar staff didn't care. So they play. Everything seems fine. Then they get off, and we're waiting. We're going to give it another maybe 15, 20 minutes before we go back on. Because sure enough, the place really is filling up. There's suddenly probably like 40 or 50 people in this bar now.
Damn.
And so we're like, hell yeah, this is cool. We'll play another set. In that 15 or 20 minutes, what we didn't see is that they had started some shit. Like, I guess it was this guy and his girlfriend, right? And the girlfriend was in the bathroom and wasn't opening the door for one of the patrons, and the patron was drunk and wanted to use the bathroom, and like she wasn't letting her in, and all this like shit transpired. We didn't know any of this. We get on, we launch in, we're about 30 seconds into our first song, which is a banger too. It's a fast, loud, just punk rock banger, and all of a sudden, full bar brawl breaks out.
Holy shit.
Like, next thing we know, like, literally chairs were being overturned, tables were being flipped. The bartender is leaping out from behind the bar we see the bouncer grabbing the hillbilly hobbit and like dragging him out as he's like punching, like throwing fists at anyone and everyone. The girl's like screaming. You can't hear any of it over our music, but like you can hear her screaming and yelling, or like see her screaming and yelling stuff. Yeah, like other people are jumping in. Other patrons who are definitely like local to that bar are jumping in and dragging these people out the door, and we're just rocking. And like it's so funny because at one point Scott turns and looks at me, I'm on the drums, and just gives me this look of like, what do we do? Do we keep playing? And I kind of give him this look of like, fuck yes, we keep playing. Yeah, like, this is fucking amazing, dude. And so, yeah, and it almost just like made us rock harder. We were just like, yes, we're doing this. Like, this is insane. We're just soundtracking this full bar brawl. Yeah, and then even at one point I look over and the bouncer looks at us, and I kind of give him the look of like, should we stop playing? And he gives me like a big smile and like throws it as he's pushing the guy out with one arm. He throws up horns to us of like, yes. He's like loving it. He's like, yes, do this.
Oh, it's so fucking great.
So,
God damn.
Yeah, so that was super insane, and then we just blister through another set. Everyone there seems to really like it, and then the place clears out. Like, we finish, it's almost closing time, the place clears out. Except for the girl who had started the whole fight, like the local barfly there who had started the whole fight, and her boyfriend. And then, so the bartender... So we're all, like, talking about the craziness of everything in those fucking hillbilly hobbits. Well, oh, that's the other thing that I didn't bring up. The guy, because I was talking to him outside briefly, and he had, like... blood like crusted in his ear.
Jesus.
and a black eye. Oh, his girlfriend had a black eye.
Oh my god.
And he is telling us that mere like minutes before they arrived at this bar, they had gotten in a fight with some frat dudes. Jesus. Like a full-on fist fight. So they were just like ready for
just fighting across the world.
Yeah, fighting across the world, dude, for sure. So yeah, I mean they were definitely a disaster waiting to happen. But man, it was super nuts.
I fucking love it. I'm just picturing like the guitarist like fucking doing the first chord and like the bar just erupting into a fucking riot.
Mean, that's kind of how it felt, man. It kind of felt like we just inspired this full-on brawl, you know? Because like we had no idea all this behind-the-scenes stuff was going on, and we just rip into this song and all of a sudden it's chaos. And like, but not mosh pit chaos, like fighting, bar brawling chaos. So
Jesus. Turns into Roadhouse all of a sudden.
Yeah, man, it was so nuts. So then when we're at the end, we're hanging out with just these couple people, and they're hammered, and the bartender, and he just gets up, walks over to the front door and locks it, and then he's like, what do you guys want? It's on the house.
Fuck yeah.
And so we end up staying at that bar until like 4:30 in the morning with the bartender just like pouring us whatever we want, hanging out with these barflies, getting hammered, and bartenders getting drunk with us. We're smoking cigarettes inside, just like talking about the events of the evening and like how nuts it was. And I mean, the bartender didn't even seem phased. He was like, yeah, like par for the course around here, I think. But oh man, it was so crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, that was easily, you know, I've played a ton of shows in my life, and that was easily just one of the most insane things. Like, and it just felt so awesome being in a rock band and just like scoring the brawl. Like, yes, man, we are live soundtracking this full brawl. I've never even seen a bar fight, let alone got to play to one. You know?
Oh, it's so fucking tight. Plus, you're the drummer, so like, oh god, damn it.
I actually felt extra safe because there was a lot of distance between me and the fight. I have to wonder how Scott and Jamie felt, because they probably weren't that far from like shit getting thrown around. So
god damn, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. It's funny too, because a couple of the friends I had that I invited, they came and saw our first set and then took off, and it's like, oh man, little do you know, like, you totally missed out on the good shit. This shit got off the chain.
Guess should have stuck around a little while.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and it was awkward too, because we never really, I mean, it's just awkward to play a second set, and it's like some of the same songs and stuff, you know, like
if there's people there from before, it's just like, oh,
But there really wasn't anyone there from before. It was
Right.
like the staff, and then pretty much all the people who were there earlier had trickled out, and then this whole new wave of kids came in and late at night. So yeah, it was bizarre. But also, like, how weird that a bar just gets their wave at midnight, you know?
Yeah.
And they knew it too. They're like, yeah, we get a late crowd. Like, where do they come from? They're not coming from another bar, I don't think. Or, I don't know.
Right,
So,
it's almost always, when it's that kind of a thing, it's almost always from another bar. It's like,
Yeah.
this bar is like either too busy or it's shutting down, so we're getting an overflow.
Yeah, some other bar that closes at midnight for some weird reason on a Saturday.
Right, or like a music venue or something like that. Yeah.
But I don't know if that's what it was, you know? I think maybe just these neighborhood weirdos.
Or maybe it's like a service industry thing, like everybody from the restaurants is like getting off of work. And
that's actually a really good point because, since we were so close to Lodo, all those restaurants and stuff in that area
Right.
get out, and then you don't want to go to the shitty Lodo bars, so you go to the dive bar that's a mile away.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's probably it for sure. Oh man, well, it was super wild. So,
Dude, that's fucking awesome. What a good story.
yeah. I don't know how to pull the taffy on that much more, but it was just so crazy,
Dude. It's almost like a scene out of the Blues Brothers or something,
Yeah,
Like,
right. No, like
the band just keeps playing while the fucking bar is burning down around them.
The bar literally did feel like it should have chicken wire up, like between the crowd and us. It was definitely that kind of place.
Hell yeah. Oh, god damn.
Yeah. I suppose I could even tack another short story on from that same tour, because I think it was, it had to have been that same tour, and I think it was 3 nights later. We were in, Arizona, I think. Yeah, I think we had just played Tucson, and we're heading to Phoenix for the show the next day, but we had a place to stay, so we were like, let's just ball to Phoenix, and no matter what time we get there, we can come in and crash. But we were tired and drunk, and it was the middle of summer. Yeah, who tours Arizona in the middle of summer?
I was gonna say, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I hated Arizona in October.
Yeah. No, it's freaking weird. Yeah, I mean, it was July, and we're in Tucson, and it's just 110.
I will say that the mountains in Arizona are sweet in the summer, like Scottsdale. That's
I'm
cool.
sure.
Or not Scottsdale. Anyway, but
Yeah, not Scottsdale. That's part of Phoenix.
Anyway, I'm not trying to steal your story, but yeah.
No, totally. But yeah, so we're completely blown out, and so we decide to pull over and catch some Z's, because like none of us want to drive anymore. We just need like an hour off the road, and so we just like pull off the road. There's kind of this little like side dirt road that wasn't even really finished and didn't really go anywhere. We pull off there, and I mean, no more than 5 minutes pass, and a cop rolls up on us.
Jesus.
Yeah, and we're just like, okay, this is weird. And I mean, like, none of us ever
pull off.
What now?
He probably saw you pull off.
Oh, she did. And so, while we were on tour, we never drank so heavily that I felt we weren't good. But we drank enough that maybe it wouldn't be good on a breathalyzer. So we were a little worried, like, oh man, like, what's she gonna think? Anyhow, so she walks up to the driver's side door, and Scott's in there. I'm in the back. And she's asking, like, oh, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, we're band on tour. But it also looks weird. We're in this van, and we keep all the gear covered up, so there's just, like, a mound in the back that's, like, covered in a blanket. Like, all right. And so we figured, like, okay, we're probably going to have to show her all the musical gear and, like, go through this whole rigmarole. But
right.
And so she asked what we were doing. Scott was like, oh, yeah, we're on tour, we're tired. I just wanted to grab, like, an hour of sleep. And, I was just, like, I was fading. I was weaving off the road or whatever. Anyway, and she's like, well, why didn't you pull into that gas station? And there's a gas station like across the street.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and we're just like, because left turn, I don't know, like, we just saw this spot, we just thought it'd be fine to pull off here. And she's just super suspicious of us, and she's like, all right, well, like, you guys can't be here or whatever. And we're like, no, that's fine, like, we'll get out of here. And we kind of got the like small town, you boys ain't from around here sort of like vibe.
The town line ends there.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, yeah, you boys better just be moving on sort of thing. We're like, okay, yeah, like, we're good, we'll get out of here. But Scott's like, I'm seriously so tired, like, Nate, can you drive? And I'm like, yeah, I can drive. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to get out of the car. I'm going to hop in the back. Nate is going to hop in the front. And she's like, cool. So she walks around to the other side, sliding door opens. She's standing there. And as the door opens, I'm rooting around in this bag looking for my cigarettes. But, like, that looks really sketchy in front of a cop. And I'm tired. Like, I was going to drive for, like, 20 minutes and then pull off. So I'm just, like, rooting around in this bag. And, like, I only caught it at the last minute that her eyes go wide and, like, her hand moves to her pistol. And Scott was like, Nate, you can find your cigarettes later. Let's just go. And then I like got it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, look, I was just looking for my cigarettes, like, but it's fine, I don't need to find them now, we'll go. And like hop out and like take off. But yeah, like
almost got shot over smoke.
Seriously, man. Like yeah, and I think she was a little green maybe, which could have gone actually even worse for us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you jumpy greenhorn cop.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. So
almost caught a bullet over a smoke,
dude. Over like not thinking about it too. You know, just like my privileged white ass also doesn't have to like be like, oh yeah, every cop wants to shoot me, sort of thing too. But yeah, I'm just like, my hands are like out of sight, rooting around in a bag in a dark car on the dark side of the road. Like, yeah, she was not happy about that situation. So, yeah, so that's the story of how I almost got shot by a cop on tour.
God damn.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a couple good tour stories. I certainly have more that we'll get to eventually. Yeah. But those are a couple of the gems.
Nice one.
All right, man. Well, that's it for today. All right, have a good one.
Thanks for listening.